Hi and welcome again to another Night Age battle report. This is a second report on my quest to find a working list for the upcoming Lincoln tournament. This time it is against a gun-line Dwarven Holds army with Simon holding the reins, and it's at my place in an outdoor room, which unfortunately makes the lighting a bit bad, but hopefully you will see the models anyway. I've done some changes since the last game and I feel a lot better about the army now, even though there are still some issues that needs to be looked over. First of all, the Wizard Assassin and the Acolytes have been removed and have been replaced by a second Hydra. The level 1 Oracle is now a level 3 with Fire Ring and Skull Splitter. I made a small reduction of the Tower Guards, shifted some points between the Spearmen and the Corsairs, and lastly given the Lord Beastmaster Lash and Crimson Armor instead of Headsman's Axe. I got to choose sides and I went for the left one, mostly so I could make use of the forest and preventing him from bunkering up behind the forest and the puddle. He also made me deploy first, and since he had more chaff and I needed to minimize the turns of shooting to win, so I deployed everything in the center and got the first turn. To be guaranteed a draw or a very small loss, I know I could have just chosen the right side and hidden behind the two hills, where one is just at the top of the picture, barely to be seen. On my side from the top is Hydra, the Altar, Tower Guards with General, Spearmen with the BSB and the Oracle, the Corsairs, the second Hydra, and the 2 units of Harpies behind the lines. On his side from the top we have crossbows, a cannon, Forge Wardens with a Rune Lord, BSB and an Engineer, and behind them a Gyrocopter, a Bomber and a Catapult. Then we have another cannon, handgunners, the Anvil Warriors and Scouting Rangers and more crossbows. For spells then I got Fireball, Cascading Fire and Burning Ramparts, while he had a bunch of augments and 2 damage spells. Vanguard, and I move up the Corsairs while he move up his Wardens. So my first turn, and I give the ward save to the Tower Guards and I march everything up. In the magic phase I get Fireball off on his handgunners, killing one of them. And that's it for my turn. So he decides to divert my Spearmen, backs the Wardens up a bit, then move his Warriors up on the hill. His rightmost Steamcopter flies around my left. For magic I let him have the D6 strength 6 on one of the Harpy units, since I reckon at least one should survive while I dispel the rest. One should survive, and that's all I need with them for diversion. I then dispel the rest except for a magical move he puts on his Wardens, who backs up. Then his copter flames the Spearman. The Wardens does 8 wounds to the Hydra, and I fail to save more than 3, so he dies. One of his cannons misses, but the other does 4 wounds to the altar. His handgunners then picks the last wound, and the altar too is dead. His catapult also gets a direct hit, and I think it kills 5 of my guards. So the first turn is over, and it was pretty brutal. I'm starting to think that my only chance to get like a draw out of this is if I can manage to keep my units in combat during his turns, which will be up to luck more than skill, I should say. So in my turn I begin with a charge on the copter right in front of the spearman. He elects to flee and lands behind his warriors, who I then redirect the spearman into. My harpies on the left charge the other steam copter. The corsairs charge the rangers who flee, so I redirect them into the warriors in case the spearmen fail. The hydra also charge the warriors. The harpies and the spearmen make it in, while the hydra and corsairs fail. I then move up the harpies and the tower guards, and in the magic I get cascading fire off on his lone seeker dude, which I forgot to mention in the deployment. The seeker takes no wounds, but the attribute kills a handgunner, I think. In combat then, the harpies get a wound in on the steamcopter, but takes 2 back, so it's a draw. The spearman doesn't do near as well as I had hoped, only killing 1 and then losing 1 back. And the dwarves then pass their break test, or it might even have been a draw if I perhaps lost 1 more. He countercharged the flank of the spearman with the seeker and the handgunners. His bomber sweeps over the guards, killing 1 maybe. Other than that, he doesn't move much, but his ranger at least leave the board instead of rallying. And in his magic phase he only gets the Strength 4 spell through on the hydra, which in turn saves all, and then he dispels the cascading fire. In his shooting, on the other hand, his wardens kill all but 4 tower guards, and his catapult misfire, but survives. I don't know about his cannons, but they didn't kill anything at least. In combat he kills a bunch of spearmen and my oracle, and I kill some dwarves back. I lose this time, but pass the test. The harpies once again wounds the steamcopter, but lose 1 back, so it's still a draw over there. My turn again, and now my mandatory idiot move comes. I charge out the general alone into the bomber, planning the overrun or pursue to take him into the handgunners. Too late did I realize that the handgunners actually don't stand where they are due to the hill, and they actually are some inch closer to the spearman, so my plan will fail regardless. Funny thing is that I would have succeeded if I had charged with the tower guards too. As I didn't see that for some reason, I separated them to force him to spread his shots and maybe just killing 1 or the other in the next turn. The Hydra charged the flank of the dwarves, and the Harpies on the hill try a downhill charge on his rallied steam copter. Forgetting that the wardens have quick to fire, I try to bait him to shoot at the tower guards instead of my general, who probably will be alone out in the open on his turn. In combat, the Harpies on top managed to kill the copter. Between the Hydra and the Spearman, I only kill about 6 dwarfs, which was a bit of a disappointment, and he kills the same amount back. I lose the combat, but everyone is close to the general, so they stick. The general in turn does 2 wounds to the steam bomber, but then fail to run it down or reach or overrun into the cap or pursue into the cannon. The other Harpy unit failed to scratch the copter and lose 1 in return, so the chopper easily stick. In his turn, his crossbowman charged the tower guards. The other crossbows charged the Hydra and his bomber rally. In his magic, I think he gets like 2 augments off on the dwarf warriors. In his shooting, his wardens aim at my general and gets a whole bunch of wounds, which I armor save some, but not close to enough. Another funny and stupid thing here is that I had forgot that the general actually had Dragonfire Gem on my list, which probably would have left him with 1 or 2 wounds. His cannons probably would have finished the job anyway, and in all fairness I hadn't told him to begin with, so he might have done things differently in that case. In combat, my BSB, who has been hiding from challenges a couple of turns, decided to take on his Seeker, giving him a wound, and then get chopped to pieces by the Seeker in return. The Hydra and Spearman then fail utterly and break from combat, also panicking the Corsairs. The Tower Guards kills 1 crossbow dwarf and then gets run down. Chopper also kills the last Harpy. Yeah, it's my turn 4 and my army is in full rout or already dead. My Harpies that actually are the only ones that have taken any points this far make a gamble and charge the flank of the wardens. The Spearmen continue to flee while the Hydra and Corsairs rally. The Harpies doesn't do any damage, and adding insult to injury, he kills both back with his 2 attacks. So, in his turn, he marches warriors out of the Corsairs' charge arc and then moves the rest in place for some shooting. Magic and shooting kills some Corsairs between them, and in my turn then, the Hydra and the Corsairs together charge a unit of crossbows off the board and then fail their charges. The Spearman decides to rally, and it's his turn again. When he charges the Spearman, divert the Hydra and gets the rest of his stuff in range. Just so you know, I'm past any hope, but I thought I could give him the pleasure of trying to table me. So we continued on. He shoots down half of the Corsairs and breaks the Spearman, but can't catch them. It's my last turn, and the Hydra charged the steam copter. The Spearman run out of the picture off the board, and I actually can't remember what I did with the Corsairs, but it didn't matter anyway. The Hydra killed the copter, but failed to reach the crossbows. in his last turn he only moves the wardens, who then shoots down the corsairs to a man, and his cannons gun down the hydra. So hands down to Simon, who killed every elf on the board while only losing about 400 points for his part. Well, this game is one of the biggest beatings I have ever taken, and first real massacre I've suffered so far in the 9th Age. The matchup wasn't a very good one to begin with, but looking at it with all the benefits of hindsight, I played exactly as he wanted me to, so I should have just gone with everything I've had against the wardens to deliver the general safely in, while I diverted the warriors instead of charging them. Now his warriors instead got to lock up 3 of my combat units, while his shooting were free to pick off the rest very easily. There's no guarantees, of course, but it couldn't go any worse, at least. If it hadn't been a casual game, I might even have chosen to take his side and hide behind the hills. Well, but that's not a very fun alternative. Even though it was a very bad game for me, it actually gave me some much needed experience and shows that I need the practice very badly. Surprisingly, I'm actually starting to feel very good about the list. Although the BSB is still a point for further consideration, but for next test run I think the only change will be a small Corsair bunker for the Oracle, because I don't feel I can't afford to throw her away in combat so easily, since she's now upgraded to a Lord. Hopefully I will get some more games in before Lincoln, otherwise I have a bad feeling about my chances. So. Well, see you soon for another report.